Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video, so this is the fourth video of our game development of our platformer series in game development with Pygame. So in this video, what we are going to be doing is we're going to be adding a sound system. We will also be adding improved jumping to our player, and then yeah, that's we're going to be adding improved jumping. And yeah, that's it. So this will actually be quite a short video. It won't be too long, but the next video will be our last video. So look out for that. So let's just start coding. So yeah, let's do it. So here I am at my PyCharm project. So this is where we left off last time. We basically what we had is we had a animated player and graphics for the platforms. Okay, now as you saw, it gets a bit snappy sometimes. We are going to fix that. And then if I run this again, or actually I'll just fall off. If we start again, it like spawns here. What I want to do is I want to spawn it on this platform. So that's what I'm going to actually do right now. So we can handle that in the player section. So here in our player class, when we do this bit, we can put in the starting position. So the starting position we can put is for X it's 40, and for Y it is going to be height minus 100. And make sure you spell your variables correctly. So it's height minus 100, and then the position or our self.pos will be the same as well. So that should work out fine. No? Yeah, there we go. So now it spawns on this platform. So the first thing we're going to do before we fix this jumping, we are going to be adding sounds and music. So like in the previous video, we created main directories here. So we got an image directory and a sound directory. So we are going to be creating the sound directory. Now I have this sound file, which has the files we're going to be using today. So this is the starting music for the game over screens and the start screens. This is the jumping sound, and this is the basically just the music when we're playing the game, jumping on the platforms and everything like that. So we're going to be creating the directory so we can access those files. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to say snd or sound directory is equal to path.join. So we used os.path to do this. So we want to join it. We want to join our main directory to the word sound or whatever your sound file is to create our sound directory. And then in this load data section over here, we can load our sounds. So I'm going to say load sounds. Now basically we only have the jump sound. Music's a little bit different. So we're only going to load the jump sound here. So I'm going to say self.jump sound is equal to pg.mixer. So in like the start the first video, we initialized the mixer. So that's basically the sound system. We're going to be using that to play sounds. It's very nice if you want to work with Pygame. You can use mixer. That's not PG, it is Pygame. There we go. So Pygame is equal to pygame.mixer.sound. So we can load it here, but for the music, we're going to want to load it somewhere else. So my sound, so I'm going to say path.join. I'm going to going to join the SND-der, or the sound-der, to the word jump.wave, because mine is a wave file, so I'm going to call it jump.wave, and it would have created the jump sound directory. And then after that, we are going to be we're going to be using this intro music over here and this playful to play the music. So first thing we want to do is for the whole game, since we're playing the music when we are running the game, so basically when the player is playing, we are going to just load it here when we start a new game. So before we do that, I was looking through and I saw that it said P is equal to platform. We're not using the P variable anymore, so we can just spawn platform, nothing would happen. Okay, so back to what we were doing. So what we want to do is we want to load our music, right? So what we can say is this. So what we need to do is we need to say pg.pygame.mixer.music.load. So we have to say pygame.mixer.music.load. So not pygame.mixer.sound? We have to say pygame.mixer.music.load. That's a bit long, but it's worth it. So we need to do the path.join again. So we need to join the sound directory to playful.ogg. So I use OGG format because it's better. Pygame doesn't work with MP3 files, and if you try to put your music as a WAV file, it'd kind of get your game some lag. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have OGG files. It even says in the Pygame documentation, they recommend you use OGG files and not MP3 or WAV, because OGG is nice and compressed. It's not going to affect your game in any way. So I use this music. So we've loaded the music there, and now basically what we'd have to do now is we need to play the music when we're running the game. So that is not hard, it is pretty easy. So we need to say pygame.mixer.music.play. Now if we just write that, that's just going to play the music only once. So we want it to play continuously. So what we need to do is we need to pass in something called loops. Okay, so this is how many loops you want it to play. So I'm going to put -1, and this will basically run infinitely until self.playing is equal to false over here in that case. So it'll only run when self.playing is equal to false. Until self.playing is equal to false, sorry. So basically, if self.playing is equal to false, this music will stop, but it won't stop very nicely. It's gonna stop very abruptly, and that's not what you want. So you want it to kind of like fade out. Thankfully, Pygame's mixer has something called pygame.mixer.music.fadeout. So we can write that. So pygame.mixer. Not mxrr. mixer.music.fadeout. Okay, so you have to put how long you want the fade out to be. So I'm going to do 500 milliseconds, and that should be fine. Let's check out. So you can now see that it is actually playing. So yeah, you can see that right there. So let's stop it now. There we go, so we stopped it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the music for the show start screen and show game over screen. So you could put a different sound for the game over screen, like maybe like a sad dramatic sound, but I'm just gonna put a nice, just different kind of tune, because I want the game to be happy, not sad. So Yeah. So what we're going to do is, I told you we're going to have to load the sound like we did in the new. But we don't need to do it there now. We just need to do it over here. So what I need to do is I need to say pygame.mixer.music.load. So I'm going to play the intro music you saw. So path.join. I am going to join the sound directory to the word intro.ogg. So that is the sound, and then you need to say mixer.music.play. So it's not only mixer actually, it is pygame.mixer. So remember, we want to make it play infinitely, so we need to say loops is equal to -1. You don't need to put loops, but I'm just going to put it there to keep it a bit specific. And then right at the end, we want to put the fade out, okay? So we're going to say pygame.mixer.music.fadeout. And I'm going to do mine for 500 milliseconds because we don't want it to be too long. We don't want it to be too quick. So let's check this. So now we need to do the same for the game over music. So what we can basically do here is we can just copy these two. I'm going to write this one manually. It doesn't really matter. It's not specific to copy and paste, but I'm just going to do it. So remember, right at the end, we need to say pygame.mixer.music.fadeout. Okay? So yeah, so we've done that. We want to make it fade out for 500 milliseconds. And now that should work. Like it should because it works. Okay, let's fall off now. Okay, so that music worked now. So now we need to play the jump sound. What we're going to do is we are going to play the jump sound in the player class where we jump. Okay, so I'm going to say self.game.jumpsound.play. I believe. I don't think it's actually play. Yeah, it is actually. So self.game.jumpsound.play. Let's see. So you can hear that the jump sound is working as well. So now let's focus on improved jumping, because as you can see here, there is a bit of a snappy effect. Okay, so we can't fix that with only one piece of code. We're going to have to do it in multiple areas. So first we're going to do it in main.py. So the first bit we want to fix is sometimes so let me just show you. So you can see that we have these overlapping platforms over here. When we jump, it doesn't, like, let's say we were to the lowest platform, it would take us to the one above it, which is the one we want. Okay, so it snaps like that sometimes. So it sometimes takes you to the top. Now I can't really show you that because it's not happening, but that will happen, and just in case it happens, we want to make sure we can tackle that issue. So the first thing, we have to fix that in the update section, where we found out when the player collided with the platforms. Okay, So that must be over here where everything else is. So where we collide with the platform. Now that's a little bit of code. We're going to increase that code right now. So so the first thing we want to do is so we're going to do something called lowest. So when the player hits something, so these hits actually come as a list. If you try to print it out, you can try it. I'll just show you. So let's just open the command line up and run it. So as you can see here, it comes as a sort of list. Now, basically, that list actually comes as 2. You might not notice, but it will come as 2. So, like, if the player is colliding with 2 at once, it'll come as, the list will have 2 elements in it. So we want to find out which one is the lowest, okay? So which one is the lowest platform? We collide with that one, okay? So we can't really tell which one's the lowest because we can't tell the computer, okay, find the one that is the lowest, because the computer doesn't know that. So we just have to assume and hope that it works. It probably will. You'll only see a little bit of that happening, which is fine. So all we need to do is we need to say lowest or the is equal to hits element 0. So the first element. Okay. So yeah, we need to do it like that. And then we need to do the calculations now. So we need to say for hit in hits. Okay, so for every hit or element in our hits variable over here. So we want to calculate if it's the lowest one or not. So we are going to say lowest is equal to hit. So now we know that that's our lowest. So we're just going to say lowest is equal to hit over here. So yeah, that is what we do. So basically, as you can see, that is not working. That will not work. So we only want to do this. So we only want to calculate it as a hit. So basically, as you can, so sometimes we have that snappy movement, right? So we only want to calculate it as a hit. So I only want to calculate it as a hit when the player hits the middle of the platform or the kind of center X of the platform. So I'm going to say if hit.rect.bottom is greater than lowest.rect.center Y. Actually, not center X. If that is the case, then we are going to set lowest is equal to hit. So now we can tell the computer that that's the lowest, and then calculate if the player is hitting the lowest platform. So again, I'm going to write another if statement. So I'm going to say, so basically, another thing we want to do is we want to make sure, like, we want to make sure that we can only go onto a platform. So in case the player hits the sides, we want to make sure we can put the player onto the platform there. Then, so what we can do here is we can say if self.player.pos.x. So we don't need to calculate y because it's the left or right side. So if it is smaller than lowest.rect.right plus 10. So, and then we say and, so now we're going to calculate the left side. And self.player.pos.x is greater than lowest.rect.left minus 10. And we need to spell lowest properly. that means that we can put the player back onto a platform. Okay, so as you can see, this statement is getting pretty long. So if we put a space like that, it's going to give us an error. So we need to put a backslash there so we can solve that error. Okay, so basically if that is the case, then we are going to say self.player.pos.y, actually not y because it's the x coordinate, is greater, so actually sorry, what am I doing? So I was accidentally typing in that condition. So inside this if statement, we want to put another if statement. So then if self.player.pos.y is smaller than lowest.rect.bottom, then what we need to do is we need to do this. So we can indent these two now. And so we put it on top of the platform, and then that should work. Should give us too much of a So you saw that it was working, so you couldn't see any snapping effect. So another thing I want to do is now you can't really make the jump as high because we said no snapping effects. So what we can do is we can either increase the jump, but then if we increase the jump, we need to add some sort of thing where when the player just taps the spacebar like that, so if the player just taps the spacebar quickly like that, then what we want to do is we want to only give them a tiny jump. So it's like that in Mario 2 where that happens. So you just press a quick tap and then it gives you a little one. If you hold it down, it'll give you a big one. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So what we can do is in our init section over here, you said in the previous video created self.jumping. So we can use this for adding that short jumping effect. Okay, so we can use that to add the short jumping effect. Okay, so what we need to do is first in our jump section, in our over here, we need to say self.jumping is equal to true. But then we only want to set it to true if it is set to false. Because if you set it to true when it's already true, then cutting the jump won't really work. So what we need to do is we need to say if hits and not self.jumping. So if self.jumping is equal to false, then so if hits and not self.jumping, then we set it to true, so that means the player has jumped. Okay, and then for that we can put 2 over here now, so it's more increased jumping. And then here, instead of putting player jump as 16, I'm going to actually put it as 20. Yes, 20. Pretty big, but it's worth it because we are going to be adding a jump cut method over here. So I am going to say def jump cut. So this is the one that cuts the jump so that the player only has a little jump if they just tap the key. So we're going to say if self.jumping. So we don't want to cut the jump when the player is jumping, when the player is not jumping, because that would be quite weird. So we're going to say only if self.jumping is equal to true, we're going to say, then we want to calculate this. If self.val.y is smaller than -3. So basically, I'm going to set the tiny jump to only 3 and not 16. I'm going to set it to 3, okay? So we only want to cut it when it is set to, they have jumped about 3. So then we just set it to 3. So we set the jump to 3. So we say self.val.y is equal to -3. But then it's not really going to work now because we haven't actually told the computer when to cut their jump. So in our events over here, you know where we did the jump bit. So we want to cut the jump when the player has let go of the key really quickly, okay? So how can we do that? Well, basically, I'm actually going to copy this. But then in one of these videos, the third video, the second video, where basically I said that we can detect when the player has let go of the key by saying if event.type is equal to pygame.keyUp. So that basically means the player has let go of a key now. So if that's the case, then we want to do self.player.jump cut. Okay, and then let's check it out. So big jump, and that has given us an error. So player has no attribute val y. We need to say val.y. That should work now. So we do a jump, we can do that. And we can also do a tiny jump like that. But then, as you can see, we can only do one tiny jump and then it's just stopping all of a sudden. Okay, so basically, what we need to do is over here, what we need to do is we need to set self.jumping to false over here. So self.jumping is equal to false, and you'll see that this gives another new effect. So if I just do this, so basically instead of only giving us a tiny jump, it will give you the jump depending on how long you press the space bar. Whoops, did I set self-jumping to false here? Let's just so press it like that, and it will only jump depending on how long you press the space bar. And well, there's a problem with that because now you can't do a long jump again. So the way we can fix that is doing this. We need to take away the self.jumping is equal to false, or actually we can copy this, and then we need to do this in the main.py when our player lands on a platform. Okay, so we need to say self.player.jumping, and it should actually work now. So that is working now. So yeah, so that is what I was going to do today. Now this is actually a pretty short video, seeing that the other videos were about 1 hour, but this one was pretty short. But that's okay, because in the next video we are going to be finishing up this Pygame platformer. We are going to be adding enemies and power-ups and a scrolling background, or maybe not a scrolling background, but clouds, and it will be pretty fun. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So yeah, so thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate that a lot. If you have any comments or doubts, please comment them in the comment section below. I'd be happy to answer them, answer your questions on this Pygame platformer. And yeah, I guess that's the end of this video. Bye, and please look out for my next video.